Hey everyone. Hey everyone. This is Lorena. I can't see my camera, which is weird. So there it is. All right, I'm gonna open that up. There we go. Hi, this is Lorena. I'm an animal trainer with Synergy Behavior Solutions. If you are here, please let me know. Say hey. I am here with my chamomile lavender tea in my owl mug, which brings me joy because it's been kind of a rough week. We're in Portland, Oregon. And if you've been watching the news at all, you know that most of the West Coast is currently on fire. So, a lot of spaces in Oregon and a lot of communities have been evacuated. A lot of acreage has been destroyed in the wildfires, and it's a stressful time for a lot of people. So, I wanted to give some tips, think of some ways that we could help to spread information about how to be well prepared with your pets. I'm somebody who not only has a lot of disaster training, but I'm also someone who has a lot of pets. So I thought maybe I'd share a little bit of some of the preparation I've been doing in my head, should things go that direction. So a little bit less light topic today, and we're just hope for the best, and we still need to prepare for the worst, regardless of where we live. The video seems a little bit laggy. If you're watching this and the connection is poor, please let me know. I'm not sure why that is happening. But anyway, um, so I am a wilderness first responder as well as an EMT. I used to be a firefighter with Clackamas County Fire, and if you are paying attention to local news, you know that Clackamas County is on fire, and a lot of spaces have evacuated, and the level 3 evacuations continue to spread up through Clackamas County toward Multnomah County. Hey, my mom's here. Hi, mom. And so I know I'm also trained in urban and wildland interface firefighting because of my experience with Clackamas Fire, and so I just know a little bit about kind of like how that mutual aid process is working, and I know that it's all hands on deck right now. So if you are in an area that is waiting to hear about evacuation notices. And right now there are no, hi Jenna, hi Kristen. And right now there are no evacuation notices for Portland, at least as of this moment that I'm speaking. I recommend that you keep track of it though. So if you are on Twitter, you can follow like Multnomah County, you can follow Portland Fire and Rescue, you can follow Clackamas County Fire. And you can also text 888-777 and send your zip code, and you will get updates if those evacuation notices change. I will just say it's important to know that there's level 1, level 2, and level 3 evacuations. Level 1 means like, hey, there's like some dangerous areas around you, and you should be alert and aware that things could change very rapidly. So that's a really great time to actually start packing your stuff up and just be ready to go if you have to. Level 2 means that conditions could change very, very rapidly, and you should know that while level 3 means go, like you need to leave your home right this second, there is no more time to prepare. Sometimes there's actually not an opportunity for resources and emergency departments to get that level 3 notice out. So if you're at level 2, depending on your level of comfort and the types of animals and people you have in your care, that's actually like a pretty good time to maybe go ahead and leave, especially depending on the situation that you have and wherever you would need to go to be safe. I'm not going to specifically tell you where to go to be safe right now because that really hasn't been announced at Multnomah County. But ideally, you have somewhere that you can go that is probably out of state would be better. Probably eastern direction because there's nowhere else to go west. So having said that, in terms of preparing for yourself, there's lots of resources online about that. But preparing for your pets. So at Synergy Behavior Solutions, we see all kinds of animals, and take a sip of my tea, and it's important that we have like safe and healthy ways to get all of our animals out of the house. So a few things to think about in preparation. Make sure that you have more food than you need, especially for your dogs. So the general recommendation is 3 days worth of food. I would probably go ahead and pack 5 to 7 days just in case, especially because if you live in an urban area and everyone receives the notification at the same time, it's unlikely that you will be able to move as quickly as you think. So pack like 5 to 7 days of food for your dogs. Another thing to think about too is what sort of tools do you need to keep your dog not only safe but calm. This is true for cats also. a lot of the clients that we have at Synergy are animals that already struggle with change and stress. And so, if your animal is one of those, a few things to think about. For example, I have Yoshi, my pit bull. She has gear that keep her safe and limit her exposure to stimuli, and I'm going to make sure that those are prepped and ready if we need to go somewhere. So, for example, my dog Summer, my older dog, can ride in the back of the car in the cargo area, just loose, and he's fine. He'll just sleep. Yoshi tends to be a little bit more stressed, and she's more likely to experience trigger stacking if she sees lots of triggers out the window. And you can imagine that if we were trying to escape the city, that would be a lot of things that would stress her. So she has a crate in the car that is covered with a sheet. So I'm limiting her visual access. If your dog is also sensitive to visual stimuli, then I recommend a thunder cap is a really great emergency tool. I recommend trying to desensitize your dog to wearing it sooner than later, but if you're in an emergency situation, thunder caps are super helpful to limit your dog's visual stimuli and help them be more relaxed in the car, and also when you get them out of the car in random places to potty or to stay the night or whatever it might be. If your dog is muzzle trained, bring your dog's muzzle with you. If you have any tools such as harnesses, make sure you have leashes, have extras of all of those things, and pack them into a bag ready to go in your car. I recommend also making sure that you have not only food for yourself and water for yourself and the humans in your house, but bring water for your pets too. Your dog, the air quality is pretty bad right now, and it will only get worse if we do get to a point of evacuation. So make sure that you have a separate water container for your dogs and bring more than you need. So often the recommendation is like bring a gallon per person per day. I would say bring at least a gallon for your pet, for each pet as well. So also, if you are a patient of Synergy, your dog is very likely on medication. Make sure you do not forget your pet's medication. If your dog is not on medication, I also maybe recommend talking to your veterinarian about some short-acting anxiety medication in the event that a really stressful experience is had, and you need to take your dog out of state for a long trip or to stay somewhere that they're not familiar with. Make sure that you have plans ahead of time in terms of where you are going. So reach out to your community. Now is definitely the time to reach out to your family and friends and offer assistance and accept that assistance. And what that might look like also is designating persons 1, 2, and maybe even 3, like sort of plan A, B, and C, if you're not home when these things happen. So plan for somebody to come by and take care of your animals if needed, and make sure that this is somebody that your animals are already familiar with and already have a relationship with, especially if your dog is fearful of strangers. And probably already stressed because I know my dogs certainly are with the way that the sky looks and smells, etc. A few other things to think about is to make sure that you have some way to contain your animal. So I have a crate for Yoshi in the car. My cargo area for Summer is great for him to stay. He's spent the night there before, no problem. Make sure that you have a space that your animal can stay in for a short-term period of time that might be even more than a few days. So other animals that I have living in my house, I have a bird, a very large snake, and I have 2 tarantulas. So I also have plans for them. And so for my bird, a small travel cage that I can easily put him in. He has traveled in that cage across the country actually numerous times, so he's fairly comfortable in it. I make sure that my bird also has a cover for that cage because it's really stressful to move birds during this time. Just as an aside, birds' lungs are super, super sensitive too. So if you do happen to have a bird living in your house, you should close all of your windows and maybe even turn on an air purifier if you can. And maybe think about evacuating sooner than later to protect your bird's health. My snake has a tub that has latches, and she can fit right in there. I usually put like a sheet or something in there so she feels a little bit cozier, if that's a thing for snakes. And she can be loaded into the car. If you are somebody who has reptiles that need heat, maybe think about including they make reptile shipping heat packs, or you can use hand warmers in a pinch. Just make sure that they are wrapped and covered by a towel or something, and that your animal can get away from them and don't get burned. Thermal burns are a concern there. If you're thinking about where to go, make sure that you're going somewhere that allows pets. So right now I know that every hotel in Vancouver and in southern Washington is completely booked right now. So if you are already having plans of like where you might need to stay if you don't have family or friends to stay with, make sure that you have those preparations ahead of time and that it's far enough away that you're not going to be scrambling for a place to stay. Another thing to think about with pets would be if you cannot bring them with you. So there is a chance that for whatever reason you can't take your pets along. There are resources available. So I know, for example, I was reading an article this morning about how there are that the Humane Society and some of the shelters up here have been taking and transporting the adoptable animals from Southern Oregon to make space in the shelters for people who couldn't bring their pets or pets that got loose. And so, on that note, well, as an aside, make sure that you contact local resources. The Oregon Humane Society is an excellent resource to give you opportunities of where and options of where you maybe could board your pet or have them stay safely, or they might even give you options of places you could stay with your pet. But also, I want to say now is definitely a time to make sure that your pet's identification is fully updated. So if your dog or cat or whatever animal is not microchipped, then make sure that they have identification on their collar and it doesn't come off easily, and that that information is also updated to your most recent contact information. Now is actually a time when, regardless of where you live, it might not be a great idea to let your cat run free if your cat is an indoor-outdoor cat. And I also would possibly be taking my dog out on a leash, even in the yard. Partly that's because there are a lot of wildlife that are being displaced right now, and we don't want any confrontation between potential wildlife that might be roaming in the city where they're not used to being and your pet. And then also, because of the changing conditions, if your animal is spooked or frightened by something, they are more likely to escape, and then you might not be able to find them. So take extra precautions in terms of keeping your pets safe and close to you. I see some questions here. What is the text number from Diane? Kristen, thank you. Yes, 888-777. Thanks for covering this. We're just outside of an evac zone, and I've been trying to wrap my head around preparations. Yeah, absolutely, same. Definitely been thinking about it a lot. Making sure that you make a checklist of what sort of things you tend to use daily with your pet. I think that can be really helpful. I also tend to think in terms of, as a behaviorist, I generally tend to think about how is this going to affect my pet's behavior, and what can I do to help manage that? And again, that's going to be things like a covered crate, maybe short-acting anxiety medications to help with the transport, and the unpredictability. And also my stress definitely translates and it increases my dog's stress. Jessica Spanos, what kind of bird do you have? He is a cockatiel. He is like 25 years old and has like a broken wing that he can't fly, but he's actually a pretty happy dude. He is also a patient of Synergy. He's been around for a long time and traveled back and forth across the country. He would probably be the one who was most chilled out if we had to evacuate, to be honest. Yeah, so any other questions about prepping your pets? In my head, if I'm thinking like top 5 most important things, I'm thinking my animal's medication, appropriate amount of food, ways to contain the animal. Make sure that you have something to put your animal in where they can be safe and you can leave them, like being able to relax in the car or in a crate. And I'm thinking about making sure they have water and a way to give them that water. It's amazing how many people will bring the jug of water and then forget a bowl. So collapsible bowls, super helpful in those situations. And you might want to think about a thunder cap and making sure that you bring your dog's muzzle, if that is something that you generally use with your pet. I think that's all I got today. I hope that everybody stays safe. Please reach out to your community, and if you can help. And if you need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. There's lots of services out there, and also a lot of people who are just willing to put forth time and energy, and now is the time when we actually do need to come together as a community and offer some mutual aid and support. All of the resources in the Pacific Northwest are tapped out right now. So it's all hands on deck. So if you have any help that you can provide, whether that's even just monetary or some of your time, or if you have things you can donate to different evacuation centers, please just take a few minutes to Google that and help people out. Kelsey, we packed a bunch of food puzzles to keep them busy. Oh yes, thank you. I was going to say that. Bring like Snuffle Mat, bring Kongs and some canned dog food that you can shove in there. Easy stuff that doesn't take a lot of space. So I can put a Snuffle Mat in the car in my dog's crate, and she can work on her treats. I also would make sure, I think about like, can I like scatter my dog's food or hide it in a hotel room? So enrichment isn't just about fun for your dog. It's also about keeping yourself calm and patient, because if we have a dog that's mentally tired, then they're going to be less stressed and pacing and having a hard time. So that's a really good point, Kelsey. I think that's all I got. Please drop any other ideas or comments or preparatory actions that you might have taken into the comment. And I'm also going to drop a couple links below this video of some resources with a checklist of what I talked about and different things to think about and places you can reach out to. Jessica, we have a small trailer and can take a couple evacuees if anyone needs a spot to stay. That's lovely. Thank you so much. There's actually one other thing I was going to throw out. If you are someone who lives in an area that's unaffected and you have space to take people's animals and care for them and foster them while they are evacuating, please put that out into the world. Lots of folks have said, like, hey, I have a big yard. Please bring your, like, chickens and goats and pigs. These are animals that are really difficult to evacuate. So providing some of that space for people can really make a positive effect on their lives and can really save the lives of these animals. So if you have space or ability to foster any of these types of animals, please reach out to local organizations and even just post it on your page and have people share, because now is the time to just like trust people and help people out. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again soon, and hopefully we all get to stay put and everyone stays as safe as possible. Stay hydrated.